Welcome back to an awesome episode of Brews and Business. Today is And Whiskey with John Buchanan. Before we get too far into it, I want to let you guys know that if you go to brewsandbiz.com, you'll be able to find some of these awesome t-shirts. We got some coasters, some really cool glasses and mugs. So if you're going to go camping, there's something for that. If you're going to drink some beer, there's a pint glass for that. Or my can glass is my favorite with the official Brews and Business beer gear, coffee gear, and whiskey gear. So we're going to continually add some more to the website and stuff like that too. So without further ado, let's introduce John Buchanan. How are you, sir?
I'm wonderful, Braden. How are y'all today?
I'm doing great. It's Friday.
Same.
Happy to be here.
Yeah.
Does Friday actually mean anything anymore?
No.
Or are we
No.
not really?
I work Saturdays. So
I mean,
Yeah.
is there an end to the week is the question. I mean, we say weekend, but
Well, there is to the people who respond to their emails and make decisions. Sometimes
Oh.
it's like, I got to wait till Monday or Wednesday.
Man,
so
I
my
like-
assistant is what you're saying.
So what are we drinking today, John?
This is Ardbeg. This is the Wee Beastie. It's a 5-year-old from the island of Isla. It looks like Islay, but for everybody out there that if you want to look a little bit more professional,
Educated.
it's Isla is how you pronounce it. But got a little bit of peat, a little bit of smoke to it. A lot of flavors. This whiskey evolves as you drink it. It's just a nice way to start off the Friday.
I left the Friday. Right. So
Yeah, honestly, my favorite days are Mondays. That's my Sunday. And everybody else is stuck at work.
Mm.
It's a good day.
you know what I like? I like being in the office when no one else is in.
That's why I work
I know
Saturdays.
Devin does that too sometimes.
Yep.
Sometimes
So
he'll
much
come in and it's so
productivity.
Are you kidding?
quiet.
Yes. You can just blare your music. You can do whatever you want. It's like nobody's here to bother me.
You can get in the
No
zone and
interruptions.
stay there. Get
No
a
one's
flow
going to call
voice.
you. No one's going to email you
Yes.
because no one's at the office. No one's
Yep.
in their office.
That's literally what my work week
Yeah.
is, Tuesday through Saturday, because Saturdays I can catch up the most. I can work till 2. I get more done from 8 till 2 on that Saturday than I can get done almost in the whole week because there's so many distractions. And then Mondays are just nice to be off because, like, I can actually get things done because things are open. It's like, oh, it's nice to have days off like that. So schedule, doctor's appointments and stuff. That's nice.
So, are your palates waking up?
Yeah, that's good.
This,
Yeah, just
this-
a little bit.
This wakes your palate up quite a bit. It's like for the older people watching, Andre the Giant body slamming you. If y'all know who Andre the Giant is.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes I feel like I'm an old man in a young man's world, but
No.
this, yeah.
There's
I grew
certain
up with
things
the
that
old.
carry.
Huh?
There are certain things that carry.
Yeah.
Like Andre the Giant.
If I say WWF, I date myself. I guess it's WWE is the one most people grew up with. So.
Yeah.
funny.
I didn't do wrestling.
So, we've got several whiskeys we're going to walk through today. This one is, man, it just wakes your palate up, especially if you're not used to these flavors. Because if you're not used to it, all you taste is like ash and smoke.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
Reminds me of a cigar a little bit. This would pair well with a cigar.
It really does, actually.
Yeah. So today we're going to review, kind of taste several of these whiskeys, but we're also going to do a little bit of catch up on what's been going on in each other's lives, and then learn a little bit about And Whiskey and some of John's history. I know you just moved. So speaking of move, Brews and Business just moved with the Blue Studio into the new remodeled Blue Studio, which is pretty cool.
Braden, this studio is awesome.
You like it?
I love it. This is phenomenal. I mean, someday when I grow up, I want to be this.
Hey, I'm right there with you, bud. It's
This
great.
is phenomenal.
This is amazing.
And then what you got planned for outside to bring all of it together, I think is, it's just cool to watch. Like even from an outside perspective, just to see how you slowly grow in the business, seeing how your whole team has grown. Even like Devin behind the camera is like killing it now, right? And when we first started the podcast, when we first started Blue Studio,
It was you
it
running
was you,
everything.
right? Like
With
it
the
was
switchboard right in front.
It's so cool to
Yeah.
see how
Yeah.
slowly
Yeah.
everybody's evolving, and I agree with John. Like this is cool.
It was
man.
cool that there's history pictures up there.
I know. I saw.
You can
I was
see
like,
what
dang,
it
you
looks
actually-
like. and
yeah,
stuff.
it's
So,
cool.
It's awesome.
I thought it was cool.
So,
So go ahead.
are y'all nosing your whiskey, by the way? I mean, that's the biggest part of this whiskey is the nose on it, right?
keep
It's
coming
making
back
my
to
nose run. It's like the way I don't
Did
know.
you eat Mexican food today?
No.
No. So, once you get past the smoke, you'll start to develop a brininess, like a wind that's you're on a beach and the wind's blowing towards you, and you get like a salty sea air. You get a little bit of that on the nose, and then you get a little bit deeper, and there's like a sweetness that comes, like a little bit of a cherry Cavendish. Speaking of tobaccos and things like that.
Yep. If I could put this into a candle,
It smells good. Tastes
I
good.
would. Speaking of moving, so you just moved
Yes,
into
sir.
a new office, Bill. You're on Main Street in Broken Arrow?
Close to Main Street. I'm in the Rose District. I'm at the intersection of Elm and Broadway.
And you have like a patio area too, right?
We do. And watching the sunsets from there is pretty amazing.
Oh, that's awesome.
And you just moved in about a week or so ago.
Yes, sir. Almost still doing some construction on it. In fact, I was cutting baseboard today.
There you go. Yeah. We all put on that sweat equity into the business, don't we?
It's there, and the further you get along in the business, the more you appreciate that.
So what do you do?
Oh, that's a valid question, and my answer right out the gate is whatever my wife tells me. That's usually
smart
what I
man.
do.
We're all married men here. We get
But
that.
beyond that, I've done insurance for 18 years now, or insurance has done me for 18 years. However you want to look at that. I mean, it's a challenging industry, but you get to meet so many awesome people. Love it. I love the people part of the business. So I also have a podcast called And Whiskey, and that's
Shout out.
Shout out.
shout out. Yeah. I enjoy drinking whiskey, and I enjoy drinking whiskey even more so with great company. So Slàinte, gentlemen.
Sláinte.
Um,
That's cool.
So what is
and
that?
Slàinte means cheers to your health.
In
And it's either, I believe it's Gaelic.
Cool.
Gaelic. Speaking Gaelic on the podcast.
You'll learn something new here every day, even if it's another
Learn.
language you've probably never heard of.
It's very cool.
I've heard of it.
So
speak
insurance,
anything.
insurance, 18 years you said?
Yes, sir.
What kind of insurance?
Yeah.
Auto, boat.
Home, auto, commercial, boat, life. I do a lot of life insurance. That's actually one of my favorites to do. It's the
That's what I'm getting into.
it's the most needed policy
Yep.
and the least appreciated until it's
need it.
needed.
Yeah. It
So
is the
people
most
talk
wanted.
about their auto insurance and how they want to have all these things and personal property cover, and they never mention their life. And
Yeah.
that's the one thing that'll happen to every single one of my clients.
Everyone's gonna die.
Everyone's going to die. And so
that's life.
knowing that's going to happen, you just prepare for it, right?
Yeah.
I'm not going to sell life insurance on here, but that's my favorite part
Yeah.
of the insurance industry is,
I'm with you.
is the life part, because you're taking care of families way in advance, hopefully.
Yes.
So did you start your own agency? Are you under somebody, another corporation or somebody else?
I
or?
did. I started my own agency, but I'm captive with Country Financial.
Okay. And
So-
then
As long as they'll have me.
there you go. So, and whiskey. That's
And whiskey was just something, it's like you look at all the different whiskey podcasts that are out there, and there's several of them, and they're very informative. A lot of fun, a lot of people doing a lot of different things with it. And the one thing I wanted to do with whiskey that I felt wasn't being done was how to take whiskey into the everyday world, right? And so I believe whiskey should pair with life. Thus, life and whiskey, right? What's your day like today? Like this one right here? This one's if I've had a challenging, intriguing week, but maybe some successes, maybe some downs. This whiskey pairs phenomenally well with a week like that, right?
You know what I admire about this guy is like when I remember our first whiskey tasting, it was with me. It was here with about 5 or 6 other men that was,
I could have possibly been here for that.
and we were here. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I invited you.
I was here for a couple of them with you.
I think you were here for that one.
So I've been here a couple with them.
Yeah.
A couple.
It's been a minute.
been a
or
minute.
two
It
since
may have been
then.
about 2 years,
Yeah.
but the appreciation on some of that. And then you and me have had some of our own too. And I'm like, the way that you describe them is fascinating. I'm like, oh, I can actually apply this. And like, yes, that does make sense. And I'm like, I could enjoy this after a week like that or after a day like that. I'm like, and then there's some to where you're like, I don't know. You guys are going to see this anyways in here. So
How many days did you spend studying a thesaurus?
Whiskey
No, a thesaurus. Be able to describe everything like this.
at the source.
well, how did you
Thesaurus?
build it?
Thesaurus. Oh, okay.
Yeah, how'd you build the
I thought you were
vocabulary?
saying the
Yeah,
source.
No, thesaurus.
Thesaurus. Okay.
Like, how did you develop the vocabulary to be able to describe such different notes in the whiskey? Just over time, or
Just over time, yeah. I've studied whiskey for between 20 to 25 years now. Wow. So it's fun, you know. At this point in time, whiskey's like an old friend, right? And with old friends, you know, you don't abuse your friends. You don't let your friends abuse you, right? And sometimes it's a while before you see them again, but it's always a welcome when you get back to it, right? And so with me, whiskey is like an old friend. And so I've had so many different whiskeys at this point in time, and there's still so many more to try. It's a vast world.
Ballpark figure of how many whiskeys you think you've tried. 25 years.
Well over 1,000, I'm sure.
Wow.
That's cool.
Whiskey man.
That's cool.
So what does And Whiskey do? That's an actual business.
It is an actual business, and so we're promoting the brand, actually. The goal of And Whiskey is to make whiskey not such a, what's the word I'm looking for? A touchy subject to some people, to make it a little bit more mainstream. Because I believe if whiskey is done correctly, like I said, not abused, but is done correctly, it's a great pairing with life. I mean, I'll sit around, I'll have a dram or two, maybe only once or twice a week. I may spend 30 minutes to an hour with one dram, just nosing it. I'm enjoying it like good company, right? As opposed to shooting
Slamming
it.
them back.
Yeah, and terminology, I'm glad you bring that up. It does matter.
Yeah.
You'll never hear me call it a shot. I never shoot whiskey. It shouldn't be quick. Unless you're using it for a painkiller and the cheap stuff, and maybe, you know, it works better than ibuprofen or something. I get that side of it. But if you're doing it for fun, enjoy it. Some of these whiskeys, like I've got some up here that have 18 years plus. If it took 18 years to make it, why are you shooting it? You know what I mean? Enjoy it, right? So that's part of the whiskey experience, is the terminology learned. So you'll always hear me call it a dram, which is what they call it in Scotland. And everybody likes to argue back and forth, you know, did Ireland or Scotland invent whiskey? So I'll call Ireland the mother country, the motherland. Scotland's the fatherland, for sure. Because they've done things with whiskey that, you know, just no one else has done.
No one else has done it.
Yeah, so Ireland has some phenomenal whiskeys, and Braden and I did Irish Fest a month or two ago, and we went through it, and love
I'm
Irish
disappointed
whiskeys.
I didn't actually get to chime in on those whiskey tastings, but I was too busy doing my job. Oh my God.
You didn't stop the whole time we were out there.
I didn't stop. I had to get a golf cart. By Saturday afternoon, I was like, is there any extras? And they're like, yeah, there's one over there with a key in it. I'm like, mine. I was like, I'm going to drive around the festival in a golf cart. I was like so proud
Slap
of
on
it.
some stickers real quick and then drive.
Shoot.
For me, it was just drinking whiskey the whole time, talking to people. about
Literally,
whiskey.
this guy's liver.
Overdrive.
He had
Overdrive.
like 3 to 4 whiskey tastings a day. And there was like 5 whiskeys each day. So imagine an ounce. 5 times 3, 15 ounces a day. 10 to 15 ounces per day.
See, I grew up very rural. We don't do the math, and there's
We
reasons
just have
for that.
fun. I don't do the math. I don't do the statistics. I just go with it.
I just do.
Tastes
do
good.
it.
It feels good. It's good.
So
The math adds up.
So this was a great one. Do you know the price on this bottle?
this bottle is $40 to $50. It's not an expensive bottle. And Ardbeg has a phenomenal selection. I mean, you can get some of their stuff in auctions that's fetching over $1,000 these days.
Wow.
So they've got several bottles you get at auction, a few hundreds. The reason why I say auction is, you know, we're in Oklahoma. So we're one of the last stops for decent whiskey. So if any of the nice bottles make it here, you know, they go pretty fast. So I'll some of the bigger purchases I make will be in auctions online to get a bottle I've been wanting to try for a while.
I heard there's a black market for whiskey.
Oh, absolutely.
And
there is.
it's ruthless.
Yeah, I got a buddy who
Because-
actually
so
who does
like
that.
when a new whiskey's introduced, like they are out finding it, buying several bottles, and then they'll hold on to it. And then I think there may be a website or like Facebook
Facebook
groups or
page.
something like that.
Well, and it's not just in the U.S., right? That's a U.S. scenario you're thinking of with not that they don't have those, but they have them for every country around the world, and especially Scotland, right? Especially Scotland, because you get Springbank, which is in Campbellton, which is an island. You can't even get a Springbank release in the market. They get them everybody goes and buys them before they even make it there, and then you have to go to the secondary market to buy them, which,
Right.
if you're doing it legally, is in auctions. If you're doing it illegally, which, I'm not necessarily against, depending on how it's done. Like, people may barter whiskeys and things. I think that's fair, just like any other thing.
Yeah.
It's
So no other
liquid investment, right?
no other liquid is admired as the way whiskey is. So vodkas. Unless
Well,
it's tequila. I mean,
wine,
like it's in the
wine is probably there,
Right?
but it's a completely different
Category.
classification and
Classification,
category.
Yeah, right,
Yeah.
right.
So what's next on the list for a tasting? And a follow-up question on that. Remind everyone what And Whiskey does. So what's the next bottle? What's the next tasting?
You
And what does
can't
And
rush
Whiskey
whiskey
do?
break.
I'm sorry.
He's enjoying it.
Patience.
The next bottle. Let's see here. Have y'all ever had Ben Romick?
I have not.
No.
So this is a lighter version of that with a lot more sweet in it. Why don't we do this one next? You're going to notice the sweet notes especially. With wine tastings, a lot of people will start with sweet wine and work their way towards the more bitter, right? Because they want people to think they like it out the gate. With whiskey, it's actually the opposite. You want to start with the harsher flavors and work your way to the sweeter flavors. So this has been Romick,
I need to work on my collection.
10-year-old. Yeah, so there's a few different classifications for whiskey as far as your home goes. You want to have your tasting library, the ones that you go to that you like, and you
And
you
like
need
mine
one to
here.
pair with your day. So you definitely want to build up a library for tasting. You want to build up a library for pairing too. Like, for example, I haven't broke this one out yet. We may, just depending on how the tasting goes, but this is the Macallan Harmony. Got this one locally, and I got it locally, I want to say, for $130. Bought 4 or 5 of them. At auction, they made their way up to US dollars around $500 a bottle.
Why?
And then they went back. Just the rarity and the demand. The demand that people wanted for this. Macallan is the #1 marketed whiskey in the world. No one surpasses Macallan in marketing. And they have phenomenal whiskeys. So I'm not going to downplay their whiskeys. I think they charge too much for their whiskey, but when you look at their marketing, that's probably where the majority of that budget's going. So they're phenomenal at marketing. But this one pairs really, really well with chocolate. And so if you're going to have dessert, some chocolate and whiskey,
And if
It's
you
dreamy.
notice that I'm curious to look up. I might even do it here in a minute. I bet you if we taste that, I'll look it up. I
Do you have
bet you
any
their
chocolates?
marketing
It's
doesn't
got
be like
chocolates.
buy this whiskey, buy this brand, look at this, look at that. I bet
There's
like,
a feeling it produces.
Yeah.
but it's quiet, it's subtle. It's got this we're Macallan kind of vibe to it. Anytime you exposed to their marketing,
Sure.
it's the brand building, and they don't even have to ask you to buy it.
Prestige.
Because you want to buy it after seeing anything with their name on it. You're like, I want that.
absolutely.
Yeah, I saw this Avalon outside. I want that.
Why do you buy an expensive
Lifted
car?
Avalon.
Yeah.
So what are some of the
gotta
notes
go
y'all are
out to
getting
the
on the nose on this one? A lot sweeter notes now that we started off with the Ardbeg. You getting the butterscotch?
My nose is about halfway clogged from all these allergies and this wind.
So we need to go to a higher proof to help clear it out.
Clear it out.
Does that help? I've never done that. Oh my God. Can you imagine how many times I would be able to breathe? We're just like, hey, snort some whiskey. Oh my God. You don't need allergy
Just open this
medication.
bottle
Just
real
snort
quick.
it.
What are you doing? Allergy medicine.
Yeah, just taking a rip real quick.
What's this?
Nasal
Traditional
spray.
medicine.
Yeah.
This is
Talk about
this
natural
ancient
remedies.
remedy.
Yeah, right.
Going back to 1740 AD.
Man, this is much sweeter.
So here's a little history on butterscotch, right? Because that's one of the notes you're getting. Why do you think they call it butterscotch? What does butterscotch remind you of when you eat it?
Well, I mean, if we're just talking about thoughts, when you think of butterscotch,
I don't like it.
I think of something that's caramely. I think of something that's sweet. Butter is really fatty, but it also like enhances some foods, and it can make some foods assume that it's sweeter. Like if you add butter to something, you're
So
like,
I think you hit a few keynotes there.
right.
So how do you make caramel?
You take sugar and butter, and then you melt it, and then it boils, and then you need to let it cool back down.
And so if you throw some scotch in with that,
Have you done that?
you get butterscotch.
Are you
no
serious?
shit.
Is that how they do that? Is
That's how
that
they
really
make
what it is?
butterscotch?
Have you ever
That's-
made caramel?
No,
You know, I used to work at Rocky Mountain Chocolate Factory.
no.
I used to make caramel from scratch in a copper butter or a copper pan thing, copper bowl.
That's why they
Caramel
call it
apples and everything?
butterscotch.
That's crazy.
And
That's
that's
cool.
the different flavors you're tasting in the butterscotch, other than caramel, is the scotch. Only all the alcohol.
Is
It's
gone.
evaporated and gone.
Yeah. Well, you may be down to very low, percentage of alcohol, but yeah.
No, Braden, I've never made caramel. I think I explained to you whenever we were in Broken Bow that I don't really make things in the kitchen.
I've made fudge from scratch
sorry.
on a granite. You got to make, in order to make fudge properly, you have to have a granite countertop, and granite is one of the only materials that maintains room temperature. A consistent temperature at like 72 degrees or 67 degrees, something like that. But it cools down the fudge as soon as it's hot and you pour it out of the pan. It cools it down at like the perfect rate, keeps it at a consistency. Because if you cool it down too fast, it becomes hardened, and it hardens.
Ah, okay.
So if you ever had fudge and this is like hard fudge, it's because they cooled it too fast. And if it's ever too mushy, then they cooled it too slow.
So,
How about it?
did you know you can take a whiskey and make an extract out of it? Just like with vanilla and everything else?
A whiskey extract.
Yeah, absolutely.
Interesting.
So, I used to own a coffee shop, and my little sister, who
I remember
is-
that. You
is a
remember
genius.
when I chased you for business?
I
back
do.
then?
Yeah, I do. Unfortunately, the budget just wasn't there, but I wanted to. But my little sister would make an extract out of this right here, Buchanan's Deluxe. So imagine a whiskey without the harshness of the alcohol, but all the sweetness and the flavors. And I would take that and put it in milkshakes
Oh,
and coffee.
yeah. Ice cream, homemade ice cream.
Yeah, homemade whiskey ice cream. It was
That sounds delicious.
phenomenal.
Doesn't it?
That sounds delicious.
So, yeah, you can make extracts with whiskey. Just like a reduction. You hear of a balsamic reduction or a
Right.
wine. It's the same thing with whiskey. You can make your own reduction with it.
So let's do a quick catch up. Chance, what's going on? How's business?
Well, starting out with the insurance is nice, but mostly the last 2 weeks I've been working on the house. God damn, my nose is running.
Rebuilding.
Yes. Hold on.
All right, you're gonna step away.
Yeah, go ahead. Abel.
All right, you're dripping. All right,
Oh, okay.
we'll bring Chance back here in just a moment. Please hold. Da-da-da, music. Okay.
Elevator music.
We need the elevator music.
Love it. Oh man, nothing's going on really. The season kicked off, so we've been pretty busy. Man, life's good. Business is a little slow, so that's interesting this year. Which, from everybody I'm talking to, it seems normal pre-COVID, kind of numbers. But man, things are good. We got our business is running really quite efficiently. I now have my 9 o'clock mornings, which is kind of a weird thing to have mornings till 9 o'clock. Like, what am I supposed to do with my hands? I just sit there in the mornings like, oh, I guess I'll play Xbox at 6 o'clock in the morning. That's cool. But it's different, but it's nice to, like, the whole business is running, and by the time I get there, it's like, well, I didn't get to say hi to anybody or nothing. So it's kind of an interesting shift that's happening, but at the same time, I'm allowing myself to put my family first doing that, and it's been kind of fun to be able to, like this morning I woke up, went and washed my wife's car for no reason other than I was up, I was bored, and wanted something to do. And it's like being able to do little things like that before I felt like I had to hurry up and get to the office. And I'm trying to right now with the way the business is running, I'm trying to remind myself that, man, you got to take a step back. It's okay. Like, the business is still running, bills are still getting paid, everything's good, but that work is going to be there whether you go to work at 6 o'clock in the morning or at 9 o'clock in the morning, and it'll be there whether you go home at 9 o'clock at night or 5 o'clock at night. It'll be there the next day, and trying to remember that and get into that rhythm now that the spring season is hit is a little difficult, but I think things are going great. We've made some management moves, and everybody's really, man, I think it's going great.
Have you hit a milestone?
No, I wouldn't say I hit a milestone. But I think I'm starting to see where I'm supposed to place people, I think is the biggest thing. We've kind of made some changes where people worked in certain areas, but then they didn't. And then the way the business shifted in the wintertime and coming into the spring kind of just made us realize like we were hurting ourselves in certain positions on purpose. And we weren't realizing it at the moment, but just kind of opened our eyes up and took some risk and moved some people around. And honestly, it's been fantastic. The customers love it. The employees love it. And I love it because I get mornings with my family and I get to be home a little bit more. And like I was telling you earlier, if I could figure out a way to be at home like most of the day and then go work at night, if I had to go to meetings or networking or whatever, that'd be fantastic. So it feels like we're slowly working in that direction, which is pretty awesome.
That's good.
Yeah.
Good to hear.
What about you?
Oh, hey,
Chance.
welcome back.
Yeah,
Sorry,
there he is.
sorry. Yeah, no, I was trying to blow my nose. Working on the house, trying to finish up Mitchell's house, get it sold. I bought my first piece of equipment, bought a little excavator, trying to sell it to Abel now.
Hey, I know an excavator for sale.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Bought a trailer.
Those can be toys as well.
Oh, they're
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
No. The wife won't let us buy them if they're toys.
Yeah.
They're tools.
They're tools.
Tools.
They're
They
work
make money.
expenses.
Yeah.
Got the Avalon lifted.
I didn't buy it. Work bought it.
Yeah. Exactly.
It's a write-off. Don't worry. They're going to pay less in taxes now.
Then they're always like, okay. They don't
Not
say
really.
anything.
Not
Well,
really.
I mean,
My wife does.
I mean, I'm not going to give away all the secrets to this one, but let's just say that they may be a little bit smarter than you.
Yeah, I agree.
They always are.
They are.
Yeah.
Much smarter. But no, the excavator's a huge.
My
deal.
wife is much smarter than I am. There's
my office is going to be ran by women.
Yeah.
Yeah.
mine too.
They're superior.
They are.
In certain aspects.
In a
And I
lot.
will tell you, there's some women in the whiskey
Kitchen
industry.
ones.
There's some women in the whiskey industry that are phenomenal, like Uncle Nearest right there. That's run by a woman master distiller, and we tasted that a few weeks ago. Phenomenal whiskey. Uncle Nearest was the guy that taught Jack Daniels how to do everything.
That's crazy. That's cool.
So
good on the house. What about business? What's VHP?
Got 2 policies sold last week, 2 IULs. So, yeah, working on that. And I'm working on a quote for you to replace yours.
It's been about 2 months.
Yeah, I know. I had a lot of stuff happen with Mitchell. And
That's okay. Me too.
Yeah.
It's all right.
Life, you know.
That's the funny thing about business owners; they understand.
Yeah, you're like, oh, that's okay.
Oh, I
Haven't forgot, but
I know.
we got to get to
like
it
something came up. Oh, yeah.
like 7 times.
imagine that. I relate.
Except when I'm in sales, because I'm chasing business owners' ass all the time.
Yeah.
Like
That's hard.
and it is hard. Like my sales cycle is 40 to 60 days. It sucks because it's always I'm out of town. So and so didn't happen. I gotta talk to
Gabe.
so and
Gotta do
so.
this.
Yeah, and
Gotta see how
and
much
do we
I
have
can
the
budget.
budget? Yeah, we got the budget, and then okay, cool. And I may have a verbal commitment. I don't mean jack shit till I got money in the bank. Then I got a commitment. Sign this, give me some money. Okay, we're good. But 60 days. Anyway, so back to you.
Last thing probably would be, so VFP, my rap company, has a production car out of California for commercial shoots. They just did a commercial for Dodge, different movies. Yeah. So they
That's
got
pretty
a
cool.
2022 5 Series BMW.
Nice.
They want matte black across the whole car.
Nice.
So chrome,
That's pretty
car,
fucking cool.
jams, everything. Yeah.
Speaking of wrap, I need your grandpa's truck wrapped.
Yeah, you told me about that. You just want to do it a different color because that'd probably be easier.
No, dude, I want it brown.
Brown.
It's already old man brown. Might as well just keep it old man brown.
We'll find something the same color. We can put some
man.
stencils on it.
Something.
Yeah.
It'll be all right. We'll make it work. It's
He
a work
bought
truck.
He bought one of my old pickups. It was my grandparents for one of his work trucks. So
And he sold it to me with no bed, if you can imagine that.
I sold it to you pretty cheap though too.
He did.
Don't act like that.
No, I'm just kidding. But we finally got a bed. It's white, and I needed to match the rest of the truck.
Yeah, we
so
can
I
make
want
it look
brown,
nice. Yeah.
or at least close enough. But
Find some champagne wrap.
what about you, John? What's going
What's
on?
new with me?
Yeah, what's going on?
Or what's
your-
old with me?
Either
Any
or.
way you want to phrase it.
Yeah, I mean, it seems to be both happening at the same time.
I would agree with that. 100%.
So, the newest thing, working on building a global enterprise and building it locally, nationally, and internationally all at the same time, and they're all different, totally different animals. And so I own the global distribution rights to a product called Turf to Max. And so I'm not going to go into make sales pitch, but it's a aerator for the yard. Easy to apply, does better than just about anything else out on the market. A lot easier than manual aeration if you're out there with, well, some people have the shoes with spikes on them.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so.
We always just rented a machine and just did it that way.
But it's interesting how challenging it is, getting it to the retail market, getting it to the commercial market, getting it to the government level. We've been working with several municipalities. Completely different process with every different industry. So we're working on getting it in Japan and Colombia and Guatemala, Uruguay.
That's cool.
It's
It's a challenge.
it's a lot of work.
How much of a difference is to go international?
It's pretty drastic.
Is it?
Yeah, there's a reason why there's a whole industry built on importing and exporting. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I mean, anytime we go to Canada or used to go to Canada, it was a whole process to get through anything to do with
Customs and all that,
logistics
yes.
through that. Yeah, it takes.
Absolutely.
It could take weeks to get through the border, depending on what you were hauling.
Jeez.
Yeah.
So I want to start a segment as soon as I get these in the mail. I ordered these from a guy that has a podcast in the UK. He's pretty popular on TikTok. It's the Diary of a CEO, conversation cards. And I picked up on these and I was like, oh my God, this could be an amazing segment. One of the things that are on here is there's different levels. There's level 1, level 2, and level 3. And they each ask deeper questions that like most of us have like common everyday issues or concerns with or whatever. Man, I don't have them yet. I just ordered them. They should be here in a couple weeks, I think. There was one that's like, and they're deep. You know how we like to, on the Brews and Business podcast, we like to be real, open, vulnerable. Talk about the real shit sometimes. Like it's not,
Sometimes a little too real.
you're in business. Congratulations. You're going to rack in some dough. You're not going to have to work.
Have you
just
done that?
You just do it.
You figured out how to do it, didn't you?
Oh, yeah. Well, the buzzword of the 2020s is authenticity. It's what everybody doesn't like about music and certain things these days because it's just become a formula, almost a chemical formula. And it's the authenticity that brings everything to life.
Right.
And so one of the questions on here, and they could range from business-related topics to something more personal. And, of course, we like to have that variety on here because being in business isn't just finances, and it isn't just managing people. It's about how to manage your life with business and your passions and your family and your kids and your employees and budgeting finances and how to, like, leverage your assets to try to collateralize stuff in this and get finance. It's a lot of stuff. So, like, one of the questions on here, what are you scared of the most today? And when I asked that, what fear or thought like triggered to where you're like, oh, did you pay that bill? Are you trying to like get funding? Like, did you clean up something at the house? Like, are you scared to go home because your wife's going to be upset that you're
What's your answer?
home later? What am I scared of most today?
Yeah.
Finding the right person. Man, what am I scared of most today? What of the most? One of the
I thought
things.
this was supposed to be the first thing that come to your
The
mind.
first thing that came to mind. Okay,
Too many things coming to your mind, bro.
you're right. It happens. I'm sorry. All right.
It's more whiskey.
Yeah. Let's think.
This may be a
Just
a
one deal.
3 or 4 dram question.
So
Yeah, it
okay,
might
so
be.
so mine is like just trying to make sure I'm spending money properly. Let's put it that way.
Okay.
Like I'm hiring, so I've got some phone interviews next week, and I'm looking to have some in-person interviews the following week and make a decision within a few days. So with being the smaller you are, the more crucial the people you hire that they are. Don't judge my shoes.
Who's judging me?
Yeah.
Dude, I had to
The
be
more
it, bro.
crucial, the more like foundational pillar pieces that they are to your business. If they go out, oh my God, now what happens? If you're a corporation and you lose one of your employees, you have 5,000, 10,000, 500, whatever, so many thousand employees, it's fine. Like you've got someone who can pick up the slack. You can make an adjustment or whatever, but that's what I'm most scared about. But these cards are cool, so they look like that.
Cool.
Yeah.
Are you going
excited.
to ask everybody else?
I know. John, what were you most
Yes.
scared of today?
That there's something that I forgot to write down and slipped through the cracks.
Oh,
Oh,
that's a
yeah.
good one.
That's a common one.
That's a constant. Mine said I'll never find my wedding ring again. I lost it the other day digging in somebody's flower bed.
Brother.
And
Are you
Telling you
singleable?
that right there.
I know. I saw that, and I
Tattoo
was like,
makes all the difference.
I thought about it, but that's really been bothering me for the last few days.
Yeah,
And
I'm
like,
going on like week number 2. If I thought I put it in my gym bag one day, and now it's not
dude.
there.
No way. I'm actually gonna buy a metal detector to go find my ring. I know exactly where it is. I just can't find it because it's like a foot underground. But I'm gonna buy a metal detector.
He buried it. What are you most
Yeah,
scared
I
about?
did.
Who was wearing it that you buried them with it?
Oh, good question.
I can't tell you. That's a couple feet.
It wasn't the
below
wife, I promise. Yeah, right.
You'd be next to the ring.
You see, I'm all out of rings here.
Well, good thing is I've already done a lot of pre-planning, so the wife and kids will be all right. So.
The horse has to die.
Oh, huh.
That wasn't a joke growing up with you guys.
What are you most scared about today?
That I
Right.
don't think I started soon enough.
Yep, I feel that. I've got a bullet point on that. I
I
didn't
don't
text
think I
you. I
started
texted
soon
Abel
enough.
about it, but I just met with someone the other day that we're gonna have on the podcast, and it's gonna be one of those stories that you hear, and you're like, "Damn,
Maybe.
like you did." No, not maybe. He'll be on. No, I need.
No,
to,
I mean, chance, maybe. We'll feel that way.
I mean, I'm doing pretty decent now, but I wish I would have started sooner. I really did.
I started sooner.
You should read that book you gave me.
I can if you have my book.
Should have read it before you gave it away.
Hey, did you get
I
the?
mean, I've read it before, but
Did he get the pun?
I got it. Don't worry. It didn't. Yeah, I got that one.
You got the pun right.
I got that.
Okay, good.
It was really punny, you know.
Did you answer?
Yeah.
Okay.
My wedding ring, bro.
Yeah.
I want my
Damn.
ring back. I'm going to buy a metal detector instead of just buying a ring.
John, what are we drinking next? What's the next taste?
Oh gosh.
I was waiting on Chance to finish his glass.
I'm a lightweight. I don't drink very often, and I try not to drink that much. But
I won't
No
fault you
pressure.
for that.
yeah,
Yeah, no pressure.
I'll just fault you for going slow.
that's okay. I'll finish it off.
You know what you call that?
Baby
Empathy.
in a glass.
That's empathy.
Just to let you know, I got time. To
No
hang.
sympathy. Just
I
empathy.
got time to hang.
I got to go paint a house after this.
Damn, you don't
Sorry.
paint it at 9:00 at night.
I do. If
The
I want
fuck
this
you
thing
ain't.
sold, I got countertops showing up next week.
Paint it tomorrow.
Paint,
I've been
paint
putting it
Mitchell's
off
house?
too long. Yeah,
That
That's
you
fine.
didn't start soon enough, huh?
a lot of things. Yeah, that is a very simple statement to a very complex.
You don't
answer
think that
behind
sometimes
it.
not starting sooner couldn't have saved you from a lot of hardships that you would have ran into because you started sooner? Think about it. If you would have left 5 minutes early instead of 5 minutes late, you could have got hit by somebody that was running 5 minutes
You're not.
late.
Yeah, you can't look in the past like, and that's not what I mean. I just instead of trying to be convinced of other people to, hey, this is what you need to do with your life. Don't let someone convince you with that because you don't know what that is, and neither do they. They dang sure don't know
Yeah, I like
what's
that.
the best for you. So don't ever let someone convince you to do anything if you don't really want to do it.
So you made that comment, and I thought of two things. I thought of one about how I got started 10 to 12 years ago.
Right.
I think of the other comment to where our friend at the Tulsa Irish Festival, remember Don? He
Yeah.
didn't get started till he was 53.
I know, and that's what I'm saying. But
And then
He doesn't look much older than 53.
no, he's 63 now. He's 64. Yeah. But in 5 years, went from 0 to 800 million with a couple other guys.
Wow.
Started at 53 and under 5 years. Raised 150 million, grew a business to 800 million, sold it. And it did it 3 more times over a 10-year period.
that's when you just realize money's all fake anyway.
It's all fake anyways. And then it made
doesn't
me think
matter.
about the recent conversation that I had where I was pissed and I texted him. I'm like, this guy has a really, really rough history. Drugs, gangs, shooting, went to prison, all this stuff, all up into the age of about 28. He's 34 now. He started his business at 29. He grew it to about 7 million. Sold it to a corporation. The corporation bought it. Now he sits on that board that owns 60 businesses across the U.S. in a similar industry. The fuck? So
Amen.
you want to get pissed about not starting early enough? I'm like, I start thinking about that stuff. I'm like, and I asked him, I'm like, were you lucky or were you smart? You know how we asked that question with Josh Conley,
Yeah.
right? And he's like, a little bit of both. You know, I was at the right place at the right time with the right people. That's lucky, you know. But he's like, I was also smart in the way I managed my finances. I was smart about how I hired and fired. I was smart about how I used my, managed finances and stuff. And I try to do my best to be smart about where I was at what time, which is hard to guess on that one too, you know.
That's where I think the whole authenticity thing, if you're like trying to be authentic with your decisions, that's where those stories come from. It's kind of what I think.
I would agree with that.
This is the Buchanan Deluxe Special.
This is the one that got me into whiskey, actually, is the Buchanan's Deluxe. John Buchanan, obviously. So you see your name on a bottle, and you're like,
That's mine.
I need to try this. And
Where's my royalties?
You're using my name.
So
okay,
if it tells you how I feel about it, I mean, here's the chieftain's crest for the Buchanan clan. So
Are you
Am I the
actually
chieftain?
related?
yeah,
You are.
I am the chieftain, at least of my household.
Ooh.
Well, are you
man
related
right
to
there.
the Buchanan? Can you trace your lineage back to
Oh, absolutely.
That's amazing.
So Buchanan's is talk about a name that is transposed time, right? You go back to 1000 AD, about 20, 30 years before then, and there was a Viking who had conquered all the British Isles. And he had ordered that all the clans and everybody else send him 2,000 young virgins, right? And so you had 2,000 young men dressed up as young women with swords under their dresses that went and conquered the Viking. And my ancestor was one of those. He performed so well, they gave him the land of Buchanan. So the Buchanans are the only ones that we inherit our name from the land. Every other Scottish clan gave their name to the land. We got ours from the land. So the Buchanan means the keeper of the canon, or the seat of the canon, meaning scripture. So, and it's the most beautiful place in Scotland and all this. And so you start tracing all this back, and so we had a cross-dressing, guy that started our clan. It's like,
But he was
Okay.
a badass, so,
he had a sword
He had a
underneath
sword
his dress.
underneath the dress.
And not like all the other people that are wearing dresses with
nowadays.
smaller swords underneath. So he had
Yeah, I'd
a
rather
full-length sword.
3-foot metal dagger.
Yeah, that's pretty cool, though. That's a cool story.
So-
I mean, that's a...
You find
Almost
that
as
out.
cool as
in-
a samurai sword.
You guys are being
Signed by
inappropriate. You're
Randy
talking about
Jackson.
an actual sword, right?
Yeah, actual sword, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, it's early 1000 AD. What else do you expect to fight with? You get bow and arrow, I guess, but
I was making a dick joke.
obviously.
Okay.
Yeah.
So on the Buchanan Deluxe, what are we tasting? What are we smelling?
Oh, man. There's a lot in here. So Buchanan's is a blend. Like I was telling y'all earlier, James Buchanan was one of the pioneers in blending whiskey. He got so good at it, it was the royal whiskey for 20-plus years. But the one of the primary, in fact, you would say the primary whiskey blended into this is Dalwhinnie. Dalwhinnie is the highest distillery in Scotland, elevation-wise. And so sweet, you're getting like a lot of grassy notes. You're getting a little bit of honey. And just so you know, I don't bring tasting notes with me for every whiskey.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Talking about authenticity, I'm literally pulling every flavor out in the moment. I'm not going through a list. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but when you're leading tastings with people, that authenticity, people feel it. If you're just reading through, you're going to see this, like a PowerPoint, no one's going to be that interested.
Right.
But if you're smelling it with them at the same time and you're pulling all those...
It'll help.
Oh, yeah. And people are going to connect with you in that moment, too. So,
When do you drink? When do you prefer this one?
when do I prefer this one? I prefer this one actually with a lot of people that they're immature in whiskey tasting because it's an easier drinker.
Yeah, is it low proof?
40%, yes.
Yeah.
So that's one of the keys in why they started blending whiskeys is they could create a consistency throughout the whiskey. So every time you pick up a bottle of Buchanan's, you know what
What it's
flavors
gonna
you're
taste
going to get. Yes,
Right.
because some people want that consistency. Me, I love new flavors, new experiences, but some people want the same experience every day. They want that white picket fence, if you will.
Yeah.
That peaceful. They want to start their mornings at 9 and be home by 5. And they want a
They
consistency.
love the routine.
And so whiskeys like this are perfect for people that need a routine, right? And the key to any good blended whiskey is it takes a premier single malt. And that single malt may have phenomenal strengths. It may also have phenomenal weaknesses. And so the reason why they blend with it is like an alloy with metal, right? You can grab iron, and that's great. But when you put steel and chrome and all these other things in with it, and you cover all the weaknesses of iron and create that alloy, you have a much better product, right?
Right.
And so that's what a good blended whiskey is. It's a great single malt that has become an alloy. And you've blended other whiskeys in to cover the weaknesses.
It's like good quality carbon fiber. Just a weave of different aspects coming together.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So Buchanan's is good for the starter. It's also a great
pretty easy.
mixing whiskey. Some whiskeys aren't great for mixing. This is great for mixing with all sorts of other things. This goes phenomenal with orange juice, pineapple juice, all sorts of other flavors. Banana.
Pear, probably.
Oh,
I
absolutely.
feel like I taste some pear in it.
And if you like the spicy drinks, you could do like a jalapeno margarita, only made with whiskey instead. This would be phenomenal
Sounds
with that.
delicious.
So
I do like spices.
A tahini on it.
Yeah, I do.
Tahini.
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 I get some floral notes there towards the end on the nose.
I must have not got as much as you guys.
You just drank it.
I think you're.
I'm just gonna wait for the
It's only
next batch.
disservice
I'll,
to you, Brayden, here.
I'll wait for the next batch. I'm not
Are
gonna.
you sure?
I'm not gonna play a guilt trip. I mean, I'm not gonna say no, but you don't have much.
Stick your
But
glass
you don't
out
have
here.
much left. So I'm not,
Get the ass out of your glass and get it over here.
That's like my kids. You literally sound like kids right now. It'd be really cool if I had a popsicle. Random kid just walked by with a
sorry,
popsicle.
my bad. It keeps moving.
And then all of a sudden, your kids, well, it'd be cool if
I wish I had a popsicle.
We don't even know that kid. We don't even know where he got the popsicle.
We don't even know where the kid's from.
Yeah, right. But it'd be cool if I had a popsicle. Okay.
I know we got about 20 minutes left on the show.
Is that all?
Yeah.
I guess I'm going.
It goes
too
by
slow.
quick.
I'm the lightweight
Yeah,
on time this time.
yeah.
I will tell you this though, if you expect me to be on time to my funeral, you'll be sorely disappointed. I'll be late.
I agree.
You might as well put it off a day or two and then show up.
Yeah.
You know, I'll be late.
You know what I
run
would
behind on
love
time.
to do on a side note is I would love to have a private, like behind the scenes sort of thing, like where you subscribe to like join part of the show, you know, like an after the show, after hours, before the show, you know, something like that, to where it's like, no, only the legit subscribers and followers, like.
I was wondering how you got to that from funeral. But
Because it's intimate, bro. Come
yeah,
on.
I guess.
I
They
mean,
wanna be there for-
sometimes.
I'm sorry, I
funerals are
wasn't even paying
parties, too,
attention. That's how I got that.
True.
though. You get a little bit of
He's out of
creaminess in it that time, like on the palate, like in the middle towards the end. A little bit of creaminess, a little bit of lemon zest,
Yeah.
a little star of anise as well. You don't know what star of anise is? Okay. Licorice, basically, like black licorice, only more subtle, just ever so slightly. But unlike some other whiskeys, I don't get any peppery notes on this one at all.
No.
Interesting.
I feel like I can hear myself smacking, like trying to taste.
Like almost like a little bit of
someone
cream
just
soda.
clicked off and quit listening.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Like, I can't do it.
So, Braden, you didn't tell us what's going on with you, man.
Yeah.
What's going on lately with you?
Record months,
Good.
record quarter. More money in, more money out.
It's all relative.
Just paid off a loan.
Sweet. Congratulations.
Fantastic.
I have less than 7% of gross income in debt,
Nice.
which sounds good.
I mean,
it is good.
It's good. Well, it's all relative.
So that's a statistic that I'm curious to know. What's the average percent of income?
Debt to
How do I
income.
format?
Debt to income,
What is the
basically.
debt to income? But in a percentage
In a
format
business.
for a business, you know.
Well-
So do most businesses live with 30% in revenue
Right.
as an equivalent in debt? And it doesn't mean that's your percentage of monthly payments. That's just we bring in $1 million and we have 100,000 in debt, 10%. It's kind of a blanket statement.
It's I'd be curious to know what my number is too. But with you saying that, I just listened to a book, The Psychology of Money, and it kind of came up with statistics similar to that in the 1940s, and this comes down to just how we view life nowadays as Americans and whatnot. But in the 1940s, apparently the standard household income or household debt to income ratio was about like 43% in the early 1940s. By the 1950s, we had risen to about 60%. Right now, in America, as we stand on average at 100% debt to income ratio, which is fucking crazy. That's sad.
Insane.
That's sad. Like, that's literally it. Like, we went from in the 40s to a 40% debt to income ratio, which credit had just started to become a thing, right? To where not even 100 years later, we are literally 100% overall debt
That's
to
when the
income.
term was created, keeping up with the Joneses.
Right. That's literally what the book talks about. So it started off with once all the GIs came back from World War II, they had all this money, but they hadn't have no money to spend it, nothing to spend it on,
Right.
because there was nothing being built in the time that the war was being built. Everything was war related that was being built. So they came back with all this money. They had, and they didn't want to move in back with their parents, which was considered normal prior to the war. Everybody you'd live with your parents until you started your own life and so on and so forth. Well, all these GIs just came back, literally went through all these traumatic experiences, and they want to spend their money. So what does the government do? The government decides to make housing. So they make housing, the debts, and then all of a sudden, well, your neighbor now owns a house. Well, he's like, well, hell, my neighbor owns a house. I want to own a house. Well, now my neighbor does this. Well, I want to do that. And that's where the whole snowball started. And it's just crazy to think about that. Not even 100 years later, we literally have gone 60% increase in debt to income in the Western world. Like that is,
And I don't mind being in debt either. And it's a lot of your smart business people don't mind debt either. They utilize that. So, for example, like Apple has.
Now, I'm not going to negate that at all, man. But I just think for the average American consumer,
Oh, true.
that's bad.
That's bad.
And what was the
That's bad.
statistic? 60% of people cannot afford a $500 emergency.
Right, emergency bill.
Like 60 to 65% or something like
And
that.
it's like that's the reality. And it doesn't matter if you're making $30,000 a year or $300,000 a year.
You're still living paycheck to
You're
paycheck. It
still
doesn't
living
matter.
paycheck to paycheck, and it just baffles me that I'm like, wow, this is like I obviously we all know this. We all know we're living in a debt-ridden world, but when you think about it, and it's not necessarily sad because debt is good, especially for a business, and in certain ways you can leverage, but the average consumer doesn't see it that way. We're not taught that, right? It's just, well, you want something that you can't have right now, just go ahead and put it on credit, and then boom. All of a sudden, you're in a $40,000 car, but you only make $20,000 a year. Yeah, but all I need is a signature, and there we go.
I'm $10,000 in credit
You know,
card
one thing
debt.
that I'm
It's
scared
crazy.
about is like having some of the recent opportunities of some of the growth in income, but then also knowing that I'm not going to have that again because I've seen that over the last 10 years, and you've seen that over the last 6 years, and you've seen that over the last 18 years. The money in, the money out. When you have a flux of income and the same or less outcome, but eventually that's going to cross paths again to where you go, oh God, I don't have enough money to be able to pay this, whatever it is, especially as you're trying to grow, like the graph does this, steadily over years. It doesn't mean
If
that
you're
it
doing
just,
anything right, it does.
if you're doing anything right. Yeah, it slowly should go up. Well, yeah. I mean, mine, I don't know what
Because
y'all's
you can go right
experience.
past zero now.
And we're gonna get into this. We're gonna get into this next Buchanan's bottle here in a second. But like, I don't know about you guys, but like mine was like, year one, I never did less than 250,000. I've never done less than that. And a lot of people, I see some TikTok videos and people talking about the entrepreneurship trend and like, here's how you make six figures. I'm like, well, that's easy. Like,
Yeah,
if
six
you
figures
can't
is
make
pretty
six
easy.
figures, that's so easy to run through six figures. $100,000, six
Yeah,
figures, $100,000. I'm like, if you can't do that, get out. Like, you got a hobby. And did you know the IRS? I believe is it 250,000? It's some mark like that, somewhere around there. If you do anything at that mark or less, they consider it a hobby. And if you do that consistently for so many years in a row to where you don't show a profit, then they come after you for an audit to try to shut your business down.
Because you shouldn't have a business going if it's not making money.
If it's not making money. And why do they want you in business not making money and them paying you a refund? They don't want to do that. And if majority of the United States is ran that way in small business, like what is it, 98%, like the top 2% of the whatever is ran by these corporations, right? But the other 90 whatever percent of the United States is
Way more than that. Mega corporations owns way more than 2%.
No, he's saying.
But majority of the United States is backboned
He's
by
talking
small
about percentages
business.
of businesses, not percentages of revenue.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah,
Oh,
percentage
right,
of
okay.
yeah. So like majority of the United States is
Thank you.
backbone on business is small, which is considered by the IRS 50 million or less in revenue. So like Andolini's,
Yeah.
they're a
Security.
small business.
Security.
You know,
It's not small, but technically, according to the IRS, it would probably fall right at that line of small business.
or at least I'm making that assumption about Andolini's. I don't know.
But nonetheless,
Whatever.
what we're saying is there's some
Yeah.
larger companies that technically would still be considered a small business.
Yeah.
But to us, they're
huge.
they're big guys because they're doing 20 million in revenue, they're doing 30 million in revenue. And like, yes, but in the grand scheme of things, they're not a small business because
$212 million in revenue.
that'd be a medium sized business.
Medium size? God dang.
Yep.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
So,
but
the,
it's
so
all
the
relative.
classification is wrong by term because when you think of small business, you think somewhere between, nothing to
Like 10
I don't know,
million.
maybe five
I
million.
would say before $1 million.
I would say.
That would be a small business.
No way.
No,
Dude,
no.
I'm a
nowadays.
small
No,
business.
because your
Maybe
coffee
20 years
shop,
ago.
your coffee shops,
Yeah.
True.
your coffee shops
$1
are
million
doing six.
doesn't go anywhere nowadays.
Your
No,
coffee shops
it
are doing
doesn't.
between 500 and $1 million
Yeah, dude.
in revenue. Just a coffee shop, like these boutique stores, these retails, these restaurants. If these restaurants aren't doing them, 750 to $1 million a year minimum in revenue, they're going to go out. They're gone.
That's true.
You
I
know,
have to agree with
so
that.
a small business is like I would say. I think you said this too. Is just 10 million or less, right? So I would consider that small business
I
to
think
where
it's
like
50 million and under 500 employees or something like that is considered small business
which
by the
is
IRS.
nuts. Can you imagine that
That's
kind of
crazy.
revenue?
Employees.
And feeling small?
Dude, I feel too big
Microscopic.
already. I'm like, too many people. We need to.
Yeah. Anyways,
less.
Buchanan.
You know, the nice thing about whiskey is it makes you feel bigger,
Yeah.
Sure.
bigger, bulletproof. Anyways, so
Avalon
this is
Let's go, Ram.
this is
I wanna
a special
bulletproof the Avalon.
Buchanan's, right?
And we just emptied that bottle. I appreciate
We did.
you.
We finished it off together.
Thank you.
Never a great whiskey
Yes,
unless
thank you.
greatly shared with a great company.
Cheers.
So this is finished. It's the same distillate we just had, Buchanan's Deluxe. Only this is finished in Don Julio barrels for the last year.
What? Can I see the bottle?
Absolutely. So tequila barrel finishing on it. Same distillate, but it's amazing how the barrel finishing changes the flavor drastically.
See, one of the things I appreciate about whiskey and cigars and coffee is that there's so much process that goes into it and so many variables that make it unique that tell a story. It's fascinating. Fascinating. And a lot of times it takes time. Years, if not decades.
Did you say
of
how
the
long
time
this
to
one was
figure it out.
aged?
12 years at
12
minimum.
years?
Do you
Minimum?
want to see that?
And then the last year is spent in the
Last
Don
year
Julio
is spent
barrels.
in Don Julio barrels.
It's it was light at first and then it hit my nose.
If you look for it on the end, you can get a little bit of the tequila finish on the end.
Yep. That's what I was thinking for a second.
But it starts off with a lot of caramel flavor, caramel, depending on what part of the country you're in.
Caramel. I still wonder how to pronounce that correctly.
I think it depends on where you're at. It's like the British; they pronounce English. You have the Queen's English, or I guess it's the King's English now
King's
again.
English.
You have U.S. English, you have Australian English,
It's pretty good.
and then you have varieties throughout the U.S. Is it pop or is it soda? Is it tomato, potato?
It's
I mean,
Coke.
It's all Coke.
It's all Coke.
It's all
Coke.
I'll take a Coke. No, but I want the Sprite kind.
Yeah. The lemon lime flavor.
Lemon lime Coke, please.
Yeah. It's called the
You know,
Sprite.
on the nose, what I get on this, I get creme brulee.
I could smell the vanilla in that. Yeah.
Have we had Barnhart on the podcast?
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
We didn't have him on again. I redid my Core Values because of him.
He just bought a plane.
Oh, that's cool.
He has his pilot license. He's 60 hours in. I'm going to go fly with him
That's cool.
in a few weeks.
That's
Let me
fine.
know. I want to go.
It's 4-seater.
I want to go.
Let's drink whiskey on the plane.
I've only been trying to go with his brother for the past 2 years.
It's true.
yeah.
It's true. I do need
To like a single prop plane.
Yeah. Well, I want to own like a Cobra Cub for the house.
Oh my god! I have a
And then I
thought.
want to have like a M350 Piper that I could take places.
By the way, if you see the finger, that means it's finger time.
Finger time, like we're in preschool.
And you have a thought, and you don't want to forget it, and you know that you're in line.
I'm not going to interpret finger time for you. You-
Whoa.
Yeah, please don't. Please don't.
You get the whiskey version after dark. Subscribe.
Yeah,
You
but
can
what was
tell
that from?
you
It's
can tell
finger
which
time.
Patreon.
You can tell
Oh,
which
it's-
side of the podcast is grown men.
on the black web.
Okay, so
The
so this
black
is,
web.
once we finish this, we'll try a new one, and then do you want me to tell a story about my conversation with Barnhart?
Sure, I guess. I mean, are you asking or are you going to tell us?
I'm asking, and then I'm going to tell you. Do you want to
Okay.
finish this first?
Well, say this whiskey you can't get in the U.S.
This
Only
is
in
my
Mexico.
I
favorite
was going
out
to
of
say,
all
I
of them
saw
so
that.
far.
That was literally, the whole label was in Spanish.
I believe you said you could only get it in Mexico.
Yes.
I guess I'm going to Mexico.
So if you have some friends going to Mexico,
Mom,
bring me
Mom?
back a bottle.
I'm like, Mom, I need a couple bottles of this, please.
Mom, please. Por favor.
The last time she brought me a bottle, it was horrible. She's like, they said it was really good. This shit, it was like straight alcohol. I was like, Mom, I like alcohol. Like, I like a good tequila. But when they said me it was really strong, I was like, you asked the wrong question. Like, I don't
Want
want
some
something to be
quality.
strong. I want something good.
Yeah.
Like,
Some
Strong.
sipping.
I want to
is
be
not-
strong. I don't care whether the drink's strong or not.
right. It's like, you know what? Right. I'm like, it was good and I drank it, but I was like, ugh. Maybe it's something a little different next time.
What's next
is
in our
good.
lineup? Uncle Nearest, or you got something else?
Why don't we do Uncle Nearest since we mentioned it?
Okay.
Then I've got 2 remaining. How much time we got left?
About 10 minutes or less.
Okay.
I mean, we don't have to do those on the air.
That's a valid point.
Yeah, we don't got to.
But it's kind of a shame that.
I'll just take a little, please. My boy. I said a little. Woo. Come on, Devin.
Good.
I see you over there. It'd be cool if I had a popsicle. Dude, if you have kids that are old enough to do that crap to you,
You don't want that? Is that a big difference?
oh no, I'll take it, dude.
Okay.
I sure wish I could get it, but
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
That's just the stuff.
Damn, man. Would you stop touching my mic?
you're going to make my roid rage go off.
Okay.
Uncle Nearest.
Okay.
This smells good.
Okay, so thought. Had a conversation with someone recently about man, I'm trying to figure out how to word this.
Turn me on.
Is that a thing? I thought you said use that to tell them to cut. Oh, okay, yeah. Okay.
Really?
I sleep in that hoodie, man.
You should see my winter.
I
blend
love that
hoodies.
hoodie.
Yeah, you
That's
mentioned
the
good
best
hoodies.
hoodie ever.
I don't know if I can agree with
What's
that.
the brand on it?
Him. It says.
It's his hoodie.
Oh, okay.
I mean, he didn't make the hoodie, but
Okay.
I don't know if I would say the best hoodie. I'm
Okay.
pretty partial to my
Tuition is
Carhartt
what you're
hoodies.
saying. It was
so,
tuition.
So this
Oh, I
kind of
learned a
goes
lot,
in.
yes.
This goes into like the risk and reward. You know, where's my liability, stuff like that. He's got some very loyal people, and they take on some very important roles that have taken years to understand how those roles are properly performed. Okay, one of these roles, another company came to them and said, "Hey, we'll give you X amount of dollars if you come work for us and run." And it was like 2 to 3 times the amount of salary as what he was earning now.
Okay, hold on. Company A has current employee John. John was poached by Company B for X amount of dollars. Correct? Okay, continue the story.
He strongly considers that. So when you bring that to the when he brought that to the owner goes, "Sure, go do it. Yeah, go work for that corporation." It was small business versus corporation, which is a common
yeah.
thing too. You know,
Oh,
It's
yeah.
It's a
so
lot different.
so he's like, "Yeah, go do that." And he's like, he made a comment about how it was something very specific about how he wanted to inspire that the people that were over there in that company there was something religious that was based on that. And he's like, okay, if that is one of your motivating factors, go over there and do that without the pay. And he's like, I don't want to do that. He's like, I want to inspire other people as a part of a religious thing that he was a part of. But now he's looking into hiring to replacing that role.
Okay.
In case that person does leave.
Right.
So now he's looking into backup roles or people who also know those other roles. And it got me thinking, and of course some of this is going to be bland because I can only say so much and I'm trying not to like give too many specifics and yada yada. But it got me into thinking about how like on my team, how I've been working over the last year or two, where yes, I have specific people in specific roles and that is their specific job duties. That is what I hired them for. But then also, not only do they show the initiative to learn other departments or other roles and then take some of that responsibility, shared responsibility between each other. Like, for example, Maria made a brand guideline kit and helped modify some logos. That's not her job.
Right.
Her job is to do reels and to do some content with it, take some photos, edit some social media videos. That's her job. Maddie's taking on additional stuff by helping me hire and helping me like sort through resumes and like schedule interviews and stuff. That's not her job. You know, everyone here on this team is helping me rebrand the entire business, from email signatures to business cards to the website to the copy to the content to sales presentations to flyers to shirts to stickers. I mean, yeah, the list goes on and on and on. That's not their job. That's my job. You know what I mean? But
You're fired.
But
You're not doing your job.
But
Devin agrees.
every now
Fired.
and then I've tried to, you know, I've thought about it, and this doesn't happen like every month or every week or whatever, but it's at least once a year where I'm like, I try to remind them like, I need you guys to figure out how to fire me, and whether or not they remember it or not, I've made that subtle comment: figure out how to fire me, because if they can figure out how to fire me, then I've made the business.
Yeah, but I wouldn't want to work for you either. So I'd figure.
But not fire me in a negative aspect. Not fire me as like you're an asshole. You're
Well, you
fired.
didn't say that.
Okay.
You said figure out how to fire me, bro. I can find a way. Like, come on.
Yeah.
You have
Figure
to
out to where you can still
Anybody
do
will
your
fire
job
me
without
in a
running me.
heartbeat.
You know.
All you have to do is hire an HR manager, and you'll find a way.
Dude.
It's like the Office scene where he's like, you can't fire him without cause. And he's like, yeah, it's because I hate him.
It's like that. For sure. It's like that.
But anyways, he's this business A is about 10 million in revenue.
Okay.
A little under 10 million. So it doesn't matter the dollar figure. It's ones and zeros.
Right.
Here's what I will here's my thought process on this, because I'm having a similar situation. Obviously, we're not talking like a key employee here or anything, but a similar situation where I have an employee who's done great. And maybe not necessarily looking for employment somewhere else or whatever, but you mentioned a key factor that I think a lot of people don't take in consideration until they've done it. The difference between working for a corporation versus a small business. Bro, you try taking off at a corporation because
Good luck.
your parents are dying and you already used up all your PTO and everything, and see what happens. Because I know business owners that will personally tell you to go home, to go take care of your family, and will write you a check to make sure that you're okay and you're not worried to get back to work.
I also know
That
those
won't
business owners
happen.
that won't do that.
And I agree.
Maddie
But-
the other day,
but
she
what I'm
reminded
saying
me,
is-
she goes, man, I'm so glad I work here for you guys, because like,
but
this
that's what I'm saying. It's
small
like-
business, I'm so
in-
glad I didn't go work for a
In a
corporation.
corporate world, now there is pros and cons. Like in a corporate world, bro, you can clock out and you're done. In a small business, you cannot do that.
Because
you go
you're a
home,
crucial
it doesn't
element
matter
in the small
what you do. You go home at the end of the day and you're thinking, okay, how do I get back to that tomorrow? How do I take a physical break, but mentally I'm still working, whether it's physically working on a project like repairing something. Go
So
ahead.
what y'all are doing is you're describing perfectly why I drink whiskey. See,
Yes.
you're talking about
Yes.
all these different experiences in life, and that's the sum total is your life experience, right? It's not, am I doing business right? Am I doing this right? It's what is the experience I'm having, and what is the experience I want, right? And that's what I've learned to shape my life with, and why I pair whiskey with it, right? It helps me go deeper into thought. It relaxes me. I can think more intently on what I want that experience to be and how to craft it, right? Because the experience isn't, oh, I should only work 40 hours a week. you know, the 9 to 5, if you will. Or I want to be a small business owner because I want to own and control this. That's all just part of the experience.
Right.
What is it
Right.
you want that experience to be?
Right. What's that feeling you're looking for?
And that's what I love about whiskey is I can craft an experience with whiskey.
Well said, John.
Can we just end it there? Damn,
Well
that's
said.
good. That was good.
All right, so we have 2 other whiskeys. So we're going to try those off air.
We'll try one of them on air. I mean, you got to do the Macallan one on air. at
Okay,
least.
we'll do the Macallan on air. We have just about 4 minutes left.
Okay. Let's. What do y'all think about this one?
This is the Uncle Nearest 1884. It runs about $40-$50 a bottle.
Yeah, I think right at 50 to 60, maybe somewhere in there.
I would say compared to the Two Souls, to me, it tastes a little bit harsher. You get more of that pepper back end, I believe.
That's the corn.
Okay.
You're tasting corn is always a harsher flavor, but it also brings in a lot more sweetness. This is definitely a sweeter whiskey, but it has a lot harsher qualities.
I'll say comparative to the Two Souls, that one
Yeah.
was so smooth.
Oh, the
was.
Two Souls is
Oh,
one of
my
the best
goodness.
whiskeys I've ever
I know.
had.
Honestly, I
that was
really
beautiful.
will. My mom's going to Mexico in, I think, October. I might just have to tell her.
Hey, I'm dead ass. If you buy one of those, you about to bring one back. I'll buy a few. I'll buy 1, 2. Man, I'll buy 3.
Maybe John will be interested in a new bottle.
Maybe John will be interested in a new bottle. He deserves a new bottle after this. I'll pitch in with you.
I
on
hope you
that.
toast it in at least.
I guess I'm going to come back. Better go with an empty suitcase so I can come back with the full one.
No, you just pack the empty one inside of the other one.
Oh, there you go.
You live out of the small one. That way you have the big one
That
for all the
bottle's
gifts.
beautiful.
Isn't it though?
That bottle is
That's
beautiful.
part of the marketing design. I mean, that's you look at whiskey as far as marketing goes. I mean, look at the box. It looks pretty plain, but it's got some pretty creative writing on it, right?
I feel like if
Texture.
a whiskey bottle is in a box, it's premium.
Yeah. So fill that box. It's got a different feel to it than most boxes.
Oh wow,
The texture and everything. They're trying to
it's got like a felt to it almost.
exactly.
Raised in Boston.
What's that movie? American Psycho, where he's like, ooh, nice. Feeling the cards. You know what I'm saying? He's like, ooh, bone ivory. Ooh, yeah, raised lettering.
And then
I always think of I
that-
love lamp. I love lamp.
slide. Okay,
love lamp.
slide in there.
Brad,
Yeah.
do you actually love the lamp, or you're just saying I love lamp?
It's an inside fitting. I like it. 2-tone box.
Nice
I like
box.
it. And it's got a foil
Finish.
foil finish. Yeah.
There you go.
Raised foil. There we go. Thank you. It's a raised foil.
Tell me the font, Braden. Tell me the font.
All right. Everybody ready?
I'm not.
Think so?
I don't do that.
This is a nice box, man. So I got a question. What do you do with all your nice boxes? You throw them away after you're done? I'm like, dang.
You
I
can only
almost-
keep so much, right?
Dang, I can
Yeah,
always
the
wanna
Uncle
get these.
Nearest was the last
That's
one.
funny. Thank you, sir.
Borrow that one time when you're
Yeah,
ready.
go ahead. Go ahead.
Thank you. Since 1824, we have been
So
crafting our
I
single
want to
malt
ask you guys all a
Scotch
question.
whiskey
I want
from the
Devin to answer
rural
this
nature
question
that
too,
surrounds our home with the
because
Macallan Eastern
we've had a
Archie
few
State and Spicy.
drams, I believe, and this is a question I ask every Friday to my whole team. What's the best thing, personal or business, that happened to you this week? Let's be grateful.
Well, before
new-
you go into that, just real quick.
Oh,
So
taste
this
it.
whiskey, y'all are drinking. If you were to find this on market right now, it's a $400 whiskey.
Are you serious?
Holy shit. Put
absolutely.
that back in the bottle.
Can't pour it back. What do you expect?
kidding.
Hey, you know
I'm
about that
just
empty
kidding.
check we talked about earlier?
Yeah.
We're like, here.
Yeah, no shit.
That's a $400
Thank
bottle
you.
of
Thank
Scotch.
you, sir.
This
So,
was a.
in case you're wondering, here's what the bottle, the box looks like.
This was a collaboration with a famous chef, pastry chef. His name is Jordi Roca. So, and this one was
That smells good.
designed to pair with rich cacao or chocolate.
Braden, go find your chocolate. You don't have chocolate here? You don't have good chocolate?
I mean, I do.
You can literally smell the chocolate in this thing.
In collaboration with Jordi
You don't smell the
Roca,
chocolate?
pastry
Okay.
chef at El Cellar.
I smell the chocolate.
Yeah, I didn't want to go in on that. I knew I was going to mispronounce it.
Maria could. She
It's
probably
in
could
Spain, I
say
believe,
that
though.
right.
Oh, yeah, she could pronounce it then.
Yeah.
She just
Cinnamon, vanilla, dates, honey, and a dark chocolate finish. Natural colored.
So going in
Matured
as a
in
guy
cherry
who
season.
does not like chocolate.
Cherry seasoned cask, for sure.
You'll like it.
Okay.
It's not bad. Yeah, Chance
You
doesn't like
really
chocolate.
smell the dark chocolate in it.
You
Oh, yeah.
can't taste the chocolate. You'll be fine. I promise.
Wow, you smell the dark chocolate.
I told you.
That's crazy.
This one's, while it's good, I almost feel like this one packs a little bit more of a punch. Like it's good. Chance it doesn't.
You get more flavor out of it when you pair it with chocolate. It's so when you're doing pairings with food, it's kind of like with wine.
Wine and cheese.
Some things complement each other really well.
Right.
But when you've created a great pairing, they both elevate. Right? It's like the whole one can put 1,000 to flight, two can put 10,000. That's a great pairing. This one can put 1,000 to flight, this one can put 1,000 to flight. You put them together.
You get 10,000. Yeah.
Yeah. Takes it to another level.
I mean, it's a good one. I like it.
I'm working on my whiskey collection, but I've got to buy more than I drink. That's my biggest
That's
issue.
the hardest part, dude. If I get a
how do
good
you
bottle
get
that I
ahead of
taste, and I'm
that?
like, well, there's no need to buy another bottle. I mean, I'm just gonna drink
I
this. sucker.
like this one.
So
Yeah, right.
So how do you?
It's just like in business, right? If you need to get ahead of the curve, you got to invest some money.
Yeah, you got.
So you got to invest some money in some bottles, and then you drink 3 different ones. That way you don't go through them all so fast, and you build up a library.
So we're about end of today's episode, but John, I need a shout out. How can I reach out to you? Why do I need to reach out to you? Give me something a little bit about the insurance side and whiskey side. So I really appreciate you, kind of walking us through all the whiskeys and stuff today. This has been a fantastic experience.
This was the whole reason why we designed And Whiskies, so I could go around and do business, life, whatever. And whiskey, right?
I love it. I love
whiskey.
it.
So, I brag on you for that.
That's
I have
so
conversations
good.
with a lot of people, and I go, there's this guy I know. He called it And Whiskey in his business, and because he can end anything with And Whiskey.
Like, dude, it is.
Marketing is 101 on that. That's
it
amazing.
is absolutely
It's
marketing
beautiful.
101.
It is beautiful.
You want to go? Do you want to get Chick-fil-A? And Whiskey.
And whiskey.
So
I don't
You want to go to the
Uh,
park? And Whiskey.
Oh, that's
at Irish Fest, we did
Want to
Girl
go
Scout
slide?
cookies
And Whiskey.
and whiskey. So I created a whiskey pairing chart for Girl Scout cookies.
Oh yeah.
Hey, you said the green bottle.
That Buchanan.
Yeah, the Buchanan
Deluxe.
Or the
Deluxe. Yeah, you said the Buchanan Deluxe is what one with the Girl Scout cookies, right?
This one
Overall?
goes with Thin Mints.
Thin Mints. Right.
This and Thin Mints, talk about pairing it, it goes to the
Right.
next level.
the Buchanan Deluxe.
Absolutely.
Thin Mints.
And Thin Mints.
All right, shout out. Your turn.
Okay, so they can reach me at John at the Buchanan Agency.
BUCHANAA.
ANAN.
ANAN.
So
There you go. Yeah,
BUCHANANAGENCY.com.
at the Buchanan Agency.
TheBuchananAgency.com.
Okay.
So-
And I would want to reach out to you for.
Well, insurance purposes, I'd be glad to help. We've got a great team that works with that. Or if you have a business venture trying to launch and you want to get in front of some key prospects, do a whiskey tasting with them, glad to host those. And that's the fun part of the business. But also, if you're a distributor and you're looking for another way, especially lawn care or something like that, and you're looking for a way to take your business to the next level, our product, Turf to Max, will definitely do that.
Okay.
So, yeah. Other than that, man, just reach out to me if you need someone to drink a whiskey with you. You're going through a rough time, hard time, especially our soldiers. God bless all our veterans and everything they go through, PTSD and stuff like that. Anybody like that that's watching and they need someone just to have a whiskey with them, man, shoot me an email. I'd be honored.
And we work closely with Soldier's Wish and Eagle Ops, nonprofit organizations. Soldier's Wish is right across the hall, right over here too. We're heavily involved in that. Love supporting them. Love helping working with them too. We're hoping to do some cigar and whiskey tastings over the next few
Absolutely.
months with them too to help just bring some of those veterans, some soldiers, some supporters together to help
Raise some money to
raise
support
some
what they're
money.
doing.
Yeah.
Grant some wishes for some
Yeah.
soldiers and families of soldiers.
Yep.
Yeah.
And hopefully we are able to collaborate together to kind of help build that environment for them to be able to do that. They don't have an office space, by the way. This is their only little 10 by 10 space, but they can't meet anybody in there. So I open up my conference room to any time that they need to meet with potential sponsors. Imagine trying to, you know that room right over here?
Yeah.
That's the size of their office.
Oh wow.
Imagine trying to meet with Cox. executives in that room. That's not going to happen. So
If they were Mexican, it'd be no problem.
So I try to open up. I don't have the craziest of resources, but I'm like, hey, I've got a conference room with like a big TV. Yeah. You can screen share. You can show your YouTube channel of all the videos we've helped make, like things like that. Like I open up doors. So I'm trying to like. They want to do. You said you want to do whiskey tastings, and I'm like, well, they need a space to do that. And I'm like, a lot of the guys want to. And Deborah has talked about doing cigars, a place to do that. And so I'm like, why don't you guys do that together? Let's see if we can figure out a space for you guys to do that right out back. You know, in a centralized location. Do it after hours, 6, 7 o'clock. I don't know. You could do it at 4 o'clock, whatever, too. But
sure.
Anyways, so great organizations, John. We appreciate you coming in. Thank you so much for taking us through the journeys of several of these whiskeys.
Amazing,
man. It is quite the journey to experience. Nearly traveling the world is what I feel like I've just been through. I feel like I just went through over the seas, over to Ireland, Scotland, kind of came back around, maybe a few other countries around there. Learned a little bit about business. We shared some stories. And again, if you want to listen to this or some other episodes and some stories from other business owners, go to brewsandbusiness.com. Yeah.
Yep.
Absolutely.
And if you have any other comments, concerns, questions, things like that, comment. And if you need to get in touch with John, you missed that. You need his info, let us know. We'll get you in touch.
Or rewind.
Well, yeah, or go back.
Well, you know, cheers to a great life, great experiences in this life,
Cheers.
and whiskey.
And whiskey.
Slungevat, gentlemen.
And that's a wrap.